Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock, and now Pastor Stewart.
Welcome back to your Acts Ministry podcast. Today we're talking about a season or the season of exploration, investigation, and discovery. And we take this from the 40 days, Numbers 13 and 25. It was 40 days that the spies searched out the land, the promised land. Those 12 spies Moses sent out to search the promised land. I want us to look at that because that is so important and to see what God told them to do because of their disobedience. 10 came back and said, we can't possess the land. And because of that, God added a year for every day. Now think about that. God added a year for every day, so they end up wandering in the wilderness 40 years. 40 years because of their disobedience. So investigation, exploration, and discovery are so important. So important that we understand that season. That season when we're investigating, we're discovering, and we're exploring. And one of the things we have to investigate and discover is who we are. Who we are. And we have to explore. When you start talking about exploration, we think about exploration as someone going out to explore an undiscovered region. We see that on TV. We see that on Star Trek or other sci-fi movies where they're trying to explore the moon, the stars, or some hidden galaxy. They're trying to explore that. But let me tell you, brothers and sisters, you've heard people say, what is the last frontier? Whether they say that's the sea, because the sea is so deep, it's miles deep, and there's so many creatures in the sea that some of them hadn't even been discovered yet. But when we talk about investigation and discovery and exploration, we're talking about exploring what God has placed within ourselves. We're trying to explore what God has hidden within us. It is people that are dying that never knew what was inside of them. And I think that even though we're exploring this and investigating this and trying to discover this, and even we have a channel that calls it the Discovery Channel, all of that. But if you do not take the time to discover what God has placed within you, you cheat you out of some incredible blessings and some incredible experiences. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to use it as the promised land. They went to investigate the promised land, and they went to discover what was over there. And in that discovery, they explored some of the regions of the promised land. But through their observation, they didn't come to the right conclusion that they were supposed to come to. Now, listen to me carefully. There was 12 spies, Caleb and Joshua. They said, we can do it. There was another 10 spies that said, we can't. Now, the problem with that is they were never sent out to discover if they could do it or not. That was not the whole reason for them being sent out. So you understand that. When God tells us something, and when he's already put that in our spirit, it's not for us to try to figure out if we can do it or not. If God says that this is yours, I need you to figure out, investigate on how you're going to do it. See, God is not going to do everything for us. And that's one of the things that we have to teach a super spiritual religious world. We have to do that. Some people are super spiritual. And they don't understand that God gave us common sense. He just didn't give us his spirit. He gave us common sense first. Without common sense, you wouldn't have his spirit. Common sense. There cannot be miracles without common sense. You need common sense to understand when a miracle is a miracle. But now we have so many people that God talks to all the time. I mean, all the time. I mean, from the bathroom to the bedroom, to the living room, dining room, on the toilet, everywhere. God never stopped talking to them. So you have this super spiritual people that do not understand there is common sense. So God is telling these spies to go out and spy out the land. Now watch this. It starts in Numbers 13. Numbers 13, I want to walk you through it. Might not be able to get through it today, all of it, but we'll finish up on it. But look at this. Numbers 13, I'm going to start at verse number 1. It says, "And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel." Stop. Spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving. Now you got to understand that. I'm giving it to you. He told Abraham he was going to give it to him. He told Abraham that over 400 years ago. This is yours. I'm not sending you there to see if you can possess it or not. Now this is critical. This is critical. Very, very critical. Especially when there's an anointing on your life, where God has told you there are some things he has given you, placed within you. But anointing does not make up for the lack of planning. Anointing doesn't do that. God expects us, Paul says, we're workers together with him. So here he says, I've given you the land. He told Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob over 400 years. He told we see what God says is, wherever you put your foot, I've given it to you within the parameters of the promised land. So that's important. We're not trying to see. We're not investigating if God has given it to us or not. We're not trying to discover that. We're not trying to discover that if he's given it to us or not. That is not why we're here. So let's look at this. He says, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a leader among them." Now that's scary.
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242. That's Simple Give.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
That's scary. Because when you look at these 12 men, all of them were leaders. These were not common men. These were the leaders in the nation of Israel. These are the ones that was sent out. And 10 of these leaders, 10 of them, didn't believe what God has said. Now I want to walk you through this because this is important when you start discovering certain things and investigating certain things. Then you need to understand this has been given to me, but I gotta work it. I gotta work it. And the one thing you got to understand, a bird has the ability to digest worms and bugs and all of that, and they can go out and catch birds. But you got to understand something. God doesn't put the worm in the bird's nest. He has given him the intelligence. He has given him the ability to spot the worm. He's given him his 2 feet to scratch around, his beak to kill it, and a stomach to digest it. You got to see that. Do you see that? God has already given it all to him, but he's not going to put it in the nest. Many things that God has given unto us, we're waiting on him to bring it to the nest, and he's not going to bring it to the nest. Because after the birds, the eaglets, once they fly out of the nest and they mature and they grow, God is not bringing it to the nest. He's not going to do that. You will starve and die and rot in your nest. And that is what is happening to many folks that are anointed. They are anointed, but they are stinking in their nest because they will not leave out of the nest. So Moses sends these 12 spies out under the direction of God. All leaders. Every one a leader. Verse 3 again, it says, so Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, according to the command of the Lord, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. Now, in verse number 4 through verse number 14, they're going to give us the names of the ones that they're going to send out. These 12 give us each one of these men name. And in verse 16, it says, these are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Joshua. See, Joshua was part of that. This was a very, very elite group of men. You don't just send anybody out. These are an elite group of men. These are men that are very skilled. And he sends out 12 of them. And Caleb and Joshua are 2 of the 12. Verse 17 says, then Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, go up this way into the south, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, few or many, whether the land they dwell in is good or bad, whether the cities they inhabit are like camps or strongholds, whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests there or not. Be of good courage, and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. See, that the season he sent it out. He sent it out during the season of harvest. This is the season he sent it out. Very, very important. Very, very important. Because he's locked into this. Everything is working like clockwork. So he sends these 12 men out. He gives them specific instructions. Never told them to see if we could conquer the land. That was already a foregone conclusion. They already knew that. They already knew that. This was to develop strategy for the purpose that had already been given. Let me say that again. God had already given them purpose. They already knew that. They already knew what he already said. The prophecy had already gone forth. They knew what had been said. They were not going out to see if we can conquer or not. They were going out to develop a strategy, because God is never going to do everything for you. And he wanted them to go and develop a strategy so they could be workers with him and they could be partakers. Remember, he's not going to bring the worm to the nest when you can go get it. So he told them one thing that's very important. He said, I want you to bring back some of the fruit of the land. Bring back some of the fruit of the land. And they're going to do that. They're going to do that. Now, on tomorrow, we're going to keep walking through this, because the time of exploration, the time where they are discovering some things about what God has promised them. They had never been here before. See, they had never been here before. God made a promise to Abraham that what his descendants, what was going to happen to them. He gave them the promised land. They hadn't been here before. So they needed to understand some things. They needed to understand what the land was all about. and he sent out these 12 spies to investigate. I want you to stay tuned as we go deeper into exploration and investigation and discovery. I want to go deeper into that on tomorrow. God bless you.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. At our Conway location, Morning Glory begins at 10 a.m. Sunday school begins at 10:30 a.m. Worship service begins at 11:30 a.m. On Thursday, our Bible class begins at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 England Street in Conway and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.